In the meantime, a classified briefing yesterday on those three unidentified objects that were shot down left senators from both sides of the aisle with more questions than answers. And that includes our next guest, Republican Senator John Kennedy of the great state of Louisiana. You were also briefed on the Chinese balloon as well. Did you get the answers that you were looking for?
Some. Here's what I learned based on two briefings. There are unidentified objects and identified objects. In terms of the unidentified objects, in the past 20 years, there have been over 100 of them, maybe even more. They're not sure. The intelligence agency thinks they might have missed some of them. And in fact, it's more than 100. I'm just recalling, John, it's almost 500. The intelligence community doesn't know who sent them, doesn't know what they are. The only difference between now and then, over the past 25 years or 20 years of these unidentified objects, we've started shooting them down. Now, the identified objects, Chinese spy balloons. China's been doing this for a while, at least for 5 years. Sometimes we have known when they were sending these balloons. Sometimes we haven't. In the most recent instance, intelligence knew that the balloon was there. I don't know this for a fact, but I get the impression that had a civilian not sighted the balloon and reported it to the media, that the Biden administration would not have said anything.
And we were talking in the break, you thought that they might not have even told the president about it.
That's entirely possible. I think the administration was caught flat-footed here. They had to respond to a media report. Why does this matter? First, I don't think there's any immediate threat to the American people, but we do need to send a very firm signal to China that they can't do this kind of stuff, and that we're going to catch them every single time. And in the past, it's not that we didn't have the technology, it's that the technology was not calibrated correctly.
Our Jillian Turner reported a couple of weeks ago when she was joining me on set here that we knew a long time in advance that this thing was being filled. It was going to be launched from Hainan Island, and then we watched it track all the way across the Pacific Ocean. Now, the Washington Post just matched that reporting today. But if, as you say, the intelligence community had not said anything about this, let it float over the United States, would they have been able to prevent China from scooping up signals intelligence and taking all the pictures they wanted of sensitive sites?
Good question. The intelligence community and the Biden administration have said that once the balloon entered the American territory, it jammed the balloon's ability to relay information back to China.
I know that we were flying U-2s up near it. Is that how they jammed it?
Did they jam it from communication? So presumably, they weren't immediately as worried about it as perhaps some think they should have been.
So do you believe that our intelligence agencies were jamming transmissions from that balloon as it traversed the United States the entire way?
I believe they say they were. I don't know how, and I don't know how they judge success in that allegation. I do know this, though. As they say, the cow is now out of the barn. I think the president, this administration has a tendency to ignore problems and ignore issues. I give you the border.
Yeah.
It tends to say, look, while I really admire the problem, I don't want to talk about a solution. I think at this juncture, the president needs to talk straight up to the American people.
We'll see if he comes out. One question for you, because same thing happens in Louisiana. This happens in Ohio. Lots of trains running back and forth across the state that are carrying toxic materials. You're just one axle bearing seizure away from having the sort of derailment that they had in East Palestine. What do you think of how the federal government has been handling this? And should the Secretary of Transportation be out there talking to folks?
Well, this is why God made pipelines. They're much safer than trucks or trains. Now, I understand this particular chemical could not have been transported by a pipeline. But all you can do is require the truckers and require the railroads to be as safe as they possibly can. But when you can, do it through a pipeline, much safer. And I regret the fact that that the Biden administration seems to look askance at all pipelines, perhaps because of their connection to chemicals and natural gas.
Senator, I know you got hearings this morning to get to. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you,
really
John.
appreciate it. Dana?
I'm so glad that he was there with you, John, in studio. It makes a big difference, I think, to get the real sense of what he learned